God's word now, you see, the enemy knows that this is your secret. Let me ask you this question today. Look at me, everyone. How many of you have found yourself believing something and suddenly you don't believe it anymore? Raise your hand. Now, give me an example, randomly. Something you once believed anymore. That is good. How many of you were believing God for something and you came to church, a word came and you just believed you will have it, and at some point you found yourself doubting it again? Doubting it again. How many of you? Yes, that's what I'm saying. So what happened? A sower sowed the word. Am I right? It fell on a kind of soil. It fell on a kind of soil. And when it fell on that soil, the enemy stole it. The enemy stole it. Let's keep seeing the interpretations. Besides this. But he that received the seed into the stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. He receives it with joy. Yet he had not root in himself, but dareth for a while. For when tribulation and persecution ariseth because of by and by he is offended. He also received seed. Now, he that receives seed in stony places, am I right? All right. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, choke too. If you are still with me, raise your hand. I want to show you something here. Remember that the one that received it in stony places, what happened? The one in the real parable. What happened to the one that received it in stony places? In the real parable. It started time. But there's an information the Bible gives us there. What verse is that? Now, verse 5. Some fell upon stony places and had not much. They strong up because they had no deepness of the earth. And when the sun was up, the sun. Now, go back to verse 21 where the interpretation is. Understand this and your life will change. Now, but he that received the seed in stony places is the same that heareth the word and received it with joy. Yet had no root in it. But when tribulation and persecution are righted for the sake of the word. Now, is the sun tribulation and persecution? Please talk to me. Is the sun tribulation and persecution? Now, I'm going to paint a picture. If you plant something and the sun arises, truly, as the sun comes to destroy it, does the plant need the sun to grow? Because of photosynthesis. But if a plant does not have roots and the sun arises, what begins to happen to it? If you don't have roots, what should benefit you can destroy you. I will explain. It says tribulation ariseth because of the word. And this is what I've seen in my walk with God. If God says it is your time of rising, please come. God says it is your time of rising, and people shall come from the north and from the south and from the west and from the east, and says, oh glory, some even fall under the power. It begins to look like immediately after that word, every contradiction. How many of you have remember? How many of you have remember? Like, you just get there, you take, God forbid, they can just snap on. Bah! The in thing about that season is not the negative thing that seems to happen, but how you respond. Your response will show whether the seed has truly been planted. What happens is that many people received that prophecy with joy. They received that word with joy. And when contradictions come to strengthen the... Praise God. Jesus attended John the Baptist's meeting. How many of you remember that powerful Holy Ghost service? That Jesus was baptized. You know, John the Baptist was a national prophet, and people came to be ministered to by John the Baptist. And what has never happened in the history of the service happened that day. Bible says the heavens were open, and a voice came, and the people heard. As it happened, and we all heard. More do you need to be a Superman? He said, this is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Oh, precious people. After that word, he was led to the wilderness to be tempted. And the first thing the enemy brought was a contradiction. He said, if you are the Son of God. The voice that came didn't suggest whether it was if or not. He said, this is surely my son. But the enemy said, if. If Jesus went further to try to prove it, he has not survived the contradiction. As a prophet, I know when God says I increase your authority, someone will offend you. So that you can say, I will curse you. The moment you curse, God says this one cannot survive contradiction. God says promotion is for you. You get to work, your boss is angry. If you begin to question the very thing that is pushing, how many of you have found yourself questioning things? God will have mercy on you. At that point when it looks like contradictions are coming, you are closer. Put yourself in Abraham's shoes.